Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis, updated commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go through it. And if you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. I dive deeper into all of these sectors and topics and share my opinions of how I'm positioning for this commodities bull market. We do have a coupon code Mayday, which is still active if you'd like to use it, 50% off the first month, and you get a larger discount on the yearly membership. I'm going to be releasing a midweek update tomorrow, and you can see what my opinions are on the market for individual companies and the ones that I'm looking at if you're interested in that. So let's take a look and see what's going on today. We're starting with the dollar like we normally do. And the dollar's been moving up, 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 up. It has had stronger yields tied with it, and stronger yields generally result in a stronger dollar. Not all the time, but general trend, higher yields, higher dollar. We have pulled all the way back to the trend line here. And you can kind of play with this trend line. It's somewhere in this general region in here. We're right around that general resistance area. We'll see if we turn over or if we continue higher. The driver is going to be yields. So when we look at yields, in my opinion, still look good to go higher. That uptrend is still intact for the 2-year. So that's looking pretty strong. We haven't done a full retest on the 2-year yet, and it might do that. We've got the 10-year continuing to go up. It is at resistance, and it's trying to fight through resistance right where we're at. We've got this trend line going down across, and then the one coming on up. So it's looking pretty strong at this moment for yields to continue higher. That momentum still up. And then the 30-year has already broken out. It is sitting on top of all of that resistance, which is now support. It's going in kind of like a megaphone pattern right now, trying to figure out which direction it wants to go. But it still looks good to go higher, in my opinion, based off of the candlesticks. The big green army is what I call it. The big green candlesticks and the small red candlesticks. UAX TNX ratio, we are still inverting the curve lower for the 30-year versus the 10-year. And that is generally not so much a tailwind for precious metals. Usually you get pullbacks when this pulls all the way down like that. But we're at a very low level. This is generally a good spot to be participating in a precious metals bull market for when it uninverts. That's when it really takes off. And gold does anticipate that inversion. So a lot of the times you want to get it when it's real low right at the beginning. We've got TLT bond prices continuing lower with yields going up. We're at that resistance support trend line. There it is. We're right on top of all of that. Bigger, longer term, you can see we've got good amount of support in this area here going all the way back to 2002. And that's why we're basing out right on that support pad, what we'll call it. The 2 and 10, we've got down 0.9, so the yield curve is uninverting. It's coming back down, but we've broken through the downtrend. So we'll see if that is going to continue higher and if today is just a regular down day. But right now, to me, it looks like it wants to go up and invert again. The 2 will be higher than the 10, and that relationship, the 2 will go up in relationship to the 10. Gold down a little bit, about $11 an ounce. The momentum is still to the downside. That has not changed yet. We've got good support at 25.60 going across there. Silver's up about 1%. The trend is still lower. We've got good support down at $29-ish, a little over $29. Platinum's been selling off here, coming on down. A little bit of buying pressure here towards the end of the day. This is all being driven by strong dollar and strong yields for the most part. Same with palladium. Palladium's been selling off here pretty much straight down. I do not see a turning point yet. We've got GDX down a little bit. That momentum is still carrying us lower. We've got good support with this big guy going across at 31.86 or so. It's a good little chunk below it if it were to go into a full retest. GDXJ, that's right at support. The horizontal support going here. So what we did is we broke out, then we pulled on back to the support area. And then SILJ, this one is a little bit behind the other ones in terms of its progress of breaking out. We do have a bearish engulfing on the monthly there. The weekly, we can see we're still pulling on back, and I don't see the trend reversing yet. We do have some buying pressure down here with the wicks at the bottom, but momentum is still to the downside. That hasn't turned yet. XAU to gold ratio, we are real low right there. We are almost doing a retest off of that breakout of the big long-term trend line there. We're just a hair above it, but we're still above all of those resistance lines. Crude oil basically flat today. We do have downside momentum. We are close to support at 66.78. Call it 66.50, somewhere in that range. Momentum is still to the downside. Now, could we break lower here and dip on out? It's possible. It is possible. Even though crude oil is really cheap in relationship to gold, we can still get a false kind of slingshot move before we go higher. Very, very possible. TTF gas moving sideways. We're down 0.36. That's a bloody nose. Still looks good to go higher. No reversal candlestick. Natural gas in America, we're right on top of that resistance line. And that's the resistance line that I am talking about. We're on top of it, and we'll see if we can punch through it. Still looks to me like a bear or a bullish formation to go higher. Boy, XOP, yeah, you know me, getting a little bit of selling pressure. We're coming up against some resistance. That resistance is this trend line going up and the trend line going across there. We're at trend line city. We're getting a little bit of a selling pressure move here today, but we are above the trend line going across here. This downtrend, we have broken to the upside, and we are trying to get our way, to make our way through the resistance that's ahead of us. OIH is doing something very similar, and it's in a bullish formation, broken downtrend. We popped higher with kind of like a flag pattern or something going on there where we could potentially go higher. There is no large selling pressure here, no reversal candlesticks. Looks okay. Newcastle coal futures tracking sideways. That generally is what occurs, these small little down candlesticks before you get a big move higher. So we're underneath resistance, and the selling pressure, it pushed us off that resistance, pushed us off that resistance, pushed us off that resistance. You can see it slowly coming off that resistance where we could turn and work our way on up. Sprott-Frisbee Uranium Trust ripping higher today, 8.23%. That came from Paladin. Paladin Energy is guiding lower production than what was anticipated. So the physical price squeezing a little bit today. The uranium futures pricing of the spot price, not really much moved. It might have moved. Maybe this is just delayed a little bit, but that's only up 0.33%. The momentum is still to the downside until that turns. We've got URA up 0.66%, and we're right on support. We'll see if it holds and if we can start to work our way on up. We've got URANIUM up a little bit. We've got support underneath us. We tapped that support today and we bounced on up. So we'll see if that momentum can continue into tomorrow. And then URNJ down a little bit. We did tap that support level, and it does look like it's trying to work its way back up. Momentum is to the upside. We can show that on the daily there. We sold off in the morning, bounced on support that I drew a long time ago. You can see right where the support level is. And then we were rocketing higher there. Copper down 1.92%. I think the dollar is weighing in the short term on a lot of commodities here. Dollar and yields. So down on copper, and COPX also heading a little bit lower there. We're still above a lot of key support. We're just getting some selling pressure, I think, due to dollar and yield, dollar strength and yield strength. Iron ore holding steady. We're up 0.4%. It still looks okay. We need China to get back into a groove, is what I'll say. But that looks okay. We've got big buying pressure, small selling pressure as we kind of come into this corner here. And we squeeze into that corner. That looks good to go higher. It's a falling wedge. It looks good. We've got aluminum, which is still trying to break through that resistance area. We're just pulling off back on that resistance. Nickel down a little bit. We're trying to find a bottom here. Might take some time. If it's not a bottom, we would start to see selling pressure exude itself here. Move down a little bit. We're at support. We'll see if support holds. Surprised that we had such a large down candlestick here. So getting some selling pressure in Mu today, a little bit stronger, and we're right at support. Emerging markets, again, this is going to be dollar sensitive and interest rate sensitive, pulling on back today. KRE doing the same thing, pulling back just a little bit, but still looks pretty good to go higher. We've got TAN down 4%. Again, this is interest rate and dollar sensitive sectors are all these. Lithium pulled back, dollar sensitive. This looks really good though. Longer term, you can see the downtrend line, and we are trying to break out. We could get a retest before heading higher. So I think that looks good. REMX is doing something very similar with the downtrend line trying to break out. Not much selling pressure here. That's bullish to go higher. Baltic Dry Index up 4.2%. Looks good to work its way on up towards that support resistance area. XHB selling off. I mean, higher yields, guys. The 10-year was up 2%. And that's going to manifest itself in stronger yields. And if we continue to get stronger yields, I think we will head lower. We've got, okay, here we go. Russell 2000, a little bit of selling pressure. And again, I think some of these are coming into stronger yields. It's still a good setup, though. Still looks good to continue higher. The S&P 500, small little selling pressure move today. On the weekly candlesticks, it's just a little bloody nose, so it still looks like we could potentially head higher. NASDAQ down just a teeny bit. That's a bloody nose. Still looks good to go higher at this time. No reversal candlestick yet, because we're just getting small little candlesticks there. SMCI down 7%, 6.8%. That looks pretty weak. NVIDIA up 2.1%. It's holding on to, my goodness, to these highs here. We're just above it, and we'll see if we can either move higher or if we break back within the pattern. Bitcoin up 1%. It still looks pretty bullish. The momentum is still to the upside here, and it's still holding on to that momentum. Nice little break there. Think of this as resistance going across here, and we came up, flagged on top of it, and then broke out. So big breakout there in Bitcoin. We've got Ethereum down 3%, right at resistance. There's the resistance that I drew a long time ago, and we are just right up on top of that resistance. And then the VIX, it's still pulled on down. Perhaps doing a retest, maybe even, if I extend that guy out. But that's what I've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website. Mayday coupon code is the one I would use. Get yourself a discount. And that's all I've got for today. We do have a question and answer session coming up at 5 p.m. Mountain Time on Sunday. So that's all I've got. We'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.